Hi, greetings, friends. Jacques Howard here, and welcome to Trenton 365 Midweek, broadcasting from Hub 1313 West Front Street in historic downtown Trenton, New Jersey. I apologize if my voice seems a little crackly or if it seems a little unusual. I had a little bout with some losing my voice, and I want to tell you it was a little frightening and a little scary. Mainly because I do so much communication verbally, and how I make a living is by listening and communicating. So it was a little bit humbling, but I'm in a good space right now. Thank you to everyone who reached out to me, to the folks who I did not get a chance to chat with at Hub 13 for Match That Monday for the anniversary, the annual party and the tour of Hub 13. I apologize for that. So that just means y'all got to come back and do it again. And I'll be here for that. But big shout out to the Black Cannabis team, Phil Charles, Damon Williams, Yolanda Landy Robinson, who held things down, and the rest of the team that is here at this Innovation Center and 420 friendly members office building. So with that being said, I encourage you to go over to the website, hub, H-U-B, hyphen, that's the dash, 13.com, hub-13.com. There you can book a tour, you can schedule a tour, you can see some of the offerings and things that we have. You can come by and check the space out. You can learn about the membership, and then we can talk to you about some of the events and things that have taken place here in the past, such as film screenings, wedding receptions, food events, etc. So make sure you go over to the website, hub-13.com. You can find out more information there. Now, getting started, I want to say also thank you to the outlets that share my information, share my shows, etc. Big shout out to you all. WIMG 1300 and WPHY were the first, and thank you to them. Right now, there's a lot of things that are going on in the world, and during this segment, I kind of want to go through a few different things and touch on a bunch of different things, but to encourage you all, first of all, one, to be encouraged, two, to recognize the power and the strength that you have to make your surroundings, your situation, and your world the way that you want it to, and to find proper encouragement and support to be able to do that. So with that being said, many folks know that on a global scale, there's a lot of things that are taking place, from the impacts of tornadoes and hurricanes. I shouldn't say tornadoes, but hurricanes, which hit Acapulco in Mexico, which did some devastation there. There was a storm that came through Antigua as well recently. Shout out to Antigua, Barbuda, and Redonda, my friends and hopefully future family members there. Hope that you are all still doing well as well. But there's also stuff that's happening on a global stage that, wars and rumors of wars and things of that nature. And I'm not a scholar. I know that there's people who've dedicated their lives and things to studying the causes and the effects and how do we get out of situations and what put us into situations. And it doesn't make any sense for me to pretend that I have the knowledge and wisdom that those folks who have put the training and effort into that. But I can tell you my own personal opinions, and I can tell you how I feel, and I can tell you just from what I've learned from my minuscule research. What's going on in the Middle East is something that I think more people need to pay attention to, especially when we think about the terminology that's being used, like terms like Semite and Jewish. And if you do any research, Palestinian, Arab, Israeli, all those different terms, and especially here in the U.S. and in the West, I think it's been confused as to what the words actually mean. And those terms not necessarily meant a race of people. Oftentimes it meant a language, it may have meant a tribe, it may have meant a geographic region. Because remember, the way the lines and states and countries and boundaries are drawn now, that's drawn by people, generally men, through wars and wars that they've conquered. That doesn't necessarily mesh with what was traditionally thought of back in biblical times, thousands of years ago. So what I've been telling folks is you've got cousins fighting each other, and the cousins have a deep hatred for each other. And it goes back to spiritual and religion and a bunch of other things that more than likely someone like myself or someone in the United States who's never been to the Middle East or knows little about the Semitic, the Hamitic, and the Japhetic cultures there. It's going to be difficult for you to really understand what's going on and to be able to provide a solution. With that being said, I think that it now means we have to think about this from a humanitarian perspective and point. If we all give 2 cents about children, all children, and if we give 2 cents about the elderly and the seasoned population, et cetera, then that should be anybody. It shouldn't just be the people that you kind of like or the people who look like you or not. It doesn't make any sense, especially if you're doing this under the auspices of some sort of a faith, some sort of religion, some sort of ideology that, hey, God is love and God loves me, but God doesn't love this group, so I can do whatever I can or whatever I want to this group. It makes little or no sense to me. Again, I'm not a scholar in this. I'm just going by my basic sense. If my neighborhood, it makes 0 sense for me to discriminate against somebody in my neighborhood who lives right next to me. And it makes 0 sense for me to discriminate against the whole group of people because of something one person has done. Because if we were all doing that, I mean, there probably wouldn't be anybody or anything else left. So with that being said, I heard something earlier this week. I'm not going to say the person's name until I ask them if it's okay, but they said this, and it's so spot on, so spot on. And I'm going to say it twice, and I'm going to say it at the end of the show. There's a bunch of people walking around with a mouth full of scriptures and a heart full of hate. Again, a mouth full of scripture and a heart full of hate. Just think about how that works and how we develop and build a society and invite people to be a part of it and tell the folks who are fearful that it's okay to come participate because we're doing this lovingly. But if you got a mouthful of scriptures condemning people and a heart full of hate trying to hurt those people, then where's the love of God? I was always taught God is love. So that's one of them. And I want to make sure that you take this seriously here. What are you doing on a daily basis to build a better community? If you have a problem with trash, are you picking any trash up? If your community is not properly putting away trash, are you putting away trash properly? Are you following the proper protocols and steps to maybe let your neighbors know that, hey, you know, this isn't what the rules are, and, you know, maybe you ought to just consider that you're making things harder for everybody? If we can't get beyond that in our own little space, our own little world, our own little minds, playing Monday morning quarterback or sideline Charlie or Ranger Rick and pounding golf balls at the range, it don't mean anything. It doesn't translate to the actual action of playing golf. It doesn't translate to the actual action of building a better community, cleaning the community. If you could care less about the education of kids because you don't have any kids, then you know there's going to be a generation of kids that are going to suffer because of education or the lack thereof. Which leads me to the importance of us voting. It's that time of year again. We're coming up on November, Election Day. I personally believe that Election Day ought to be a national holiday, or at least a state holiday, where everything is shut down and as many people as possible are encouraged to go out and vote. Not who to vote for, but to vote. Register and vote. And hold those who are elected accountable. And I'm going to go a step further. Those people who are running around the communities and supporting different candidates and telling people to do this for these different candidates, when they're in office, you ought to go to them too and say, hey, you were supporting this person and told so-and-so and all these dozens of people on your social media pages and all these other things to go vote for this one because you endorse this one. What is your endorsement? And if your endorsement is something that you feel has got some weight, it's got some juice, then you need to be held accountable for that weight and juice that you put behind these elected officials, especially when many times they really don't do too much. Which leads me to the next point. If you're elected officials, wherever you are, regardless of who they are, regardless of what color or what letter or lack thereof they have, if your circumstances and situation has not improved while they have been in office, you should have a conversation with them. And you should consider whether or not they should be in office again. Because we live in a society where things change rapidly and very fast. And on par with what's happening in other municipalities around, things can get done. Now, it's a little more difficult to get things done because it takes time and meetings and all these other things. It maybe changes the rules and proclamations and laws and getting different departments involved. So it's work. It's a lot easier to just go out and get pictures taken. It's a lot easier to just show up at functions, get awards and pats on the back and things of that nature. But the day-to-day functionality of a government should already be in place, should already be happening because of the departments that have already been established and the directorship and the leadership that's in those departments. The elected official, the ward, in my case in Trenton, the ward and the mayor, those positions are like, hey, get in and do what you're supposed to do. Follow these rules. Everything else is in place. The grant money's coming in. There's grant writers. There's different directorships, et cetera. There's different types of leadership. There's a comprehensive plan or a master plan that every municipality has to create and subscribe to and follow as the law, the direction that the whole municipal government is going to. We're going in this direction. This is what we're doing. We've agreed to this. This is what it is. Well, if you got an elected official who doesn't know that, doesn't support that, doesn't follow that, are they kind of breaking the law? Just something for you to think about. And if you don't know about a comprehensive plan or a master plan, just look it up. Every municipality has one. And if you're not moving in that direction, then what are you doing? Because that is supposed to be the guidepost, the direction, the direction of where everyone is going. Trenton 365 midweek, coming to you live from Hub 1313 West Front Street, historic downtown Trenton, about a half a block from the old barracks and about a block and a half from Mill Hill Park, the historic Mill Hill Park, where George Washington fought the battles of Trenton, and I like to say George Washington became George Washington on the streets of Trenton, New Jersey. Transitioning into Jocks Reach, recreation. Friends of Antico Square on Facebook is where you can go. Friends of Antico Square on Facebook. That's the Facebook page where a group of community folks and bike and pedestrian and rolling and skateboarding and BMX advocates are on this page. And we've been working many years. I think it's probably been like 7-8 years now. I've been working with Mark Leckington and Wills Kinsley and others to bring about this idea and this concept of creating an outdoor public skate park here in the city of Trenton. And we're moving forward. We've been able to secure some financing to start the planning phase. Recently, there was a public meeting that was held at the East Trenton Collaborative, which is the neighborhood in the North Ward where this is going to take place. For those of you who are familiar with Trenton, it's near the Trenton Capital City Farm and also Taylor Porkle. It's in that vicinity off of Antico Square, which is named a street. So go over to the website or the Facebook page website, Friends of Antico Square, and there you can find out more about what's going on. You can share your information and your thoughts about the skate park. You can see a bunch of really cool documentation of the whole process from the community meetings that we were doing, the first conversations I had with Mark about this idea, how it looks like working with the community, having meetings at East Trenton Collaborative, bringing in the nonprofit organization, Freedom NJ, which does an indoor skate park, annually here in Trenton. So this is the culmination of a true community effort put together by Mark Leckington and myself, and we're stoked to see that this is progressing and going this direction. And shout out to all the folks who've been a part of it. Some have come, some have gone, but to know that this is still progressing and moving in this direction, I'm very, very excited about it. Head over to the Facebook page, Friends of Amtico Square. While you're doing that, I also encourage you to go over to the website for Trenton Cycling Revolution. It's one of the organizations that's constantly advocating and has for the last 3 decades for biking, walking, rolling, and pedestrian access. So with that being said, there's opportunities for the city of Trenton to find grant funding, to do studies, to decrease the amount of homicides, or excuse me, the amount of deaths, I want to say, because I'm going to say homicides, the amount of deaths that have occurred on the streets of Trenton by people who are walking or rolling on a bike or a scooter or something of that nature. So that website is trentoncycling.org. It's a nonprofit organization. I'm working to build out what the community advisory board looks like. So if you want to be a part of that, please go over to the website, trentoncycling.org, and leave a message there under Contact Us, or you can go to the Facebook or Instagram pages of Trenton Cycling Revolution as well, and leave a DM there and say, hey, look, I want to talk about the Community Advisory Board. And this Community Advisory Board is going to be something that is I'm going to be pushing for in 2024 for more organizations to consider. Instead of trying to have 8, 10, whatever number you need to be dedicated members on your board who meet monthly and then do a retreat and do all these different things. Instead of trying to get the same 100 people in Trenton just rotating between the different boards, let's start expanding what these boards look like and maybe getting some folks in and involved on these boards from a perspective that's not a full board member, an advisory board member. Maybe they have a skill set or a talent or something they want to offer up, and maybe they just want to table at an event one time a year. Well, that can take a lot of the effort, or excuse me, a lot of the work off of the volunteers of many of the boards. So for example, Trenton Cycling Revolution, if you wanted to be a part of the advisory board there, when we have our cleanup, when we have our bike rides, when we have an opportunity to meet with other folks, there's administrative things that needs to be done. Maybe it's an email blast. Maybe it's to send an email to someone in particular. It could also mean, hey, when we have a ride, we need to have someone at a table who can just collect information and share information, collect information from those who are participating, but also share information about Trenton Cycling Revolution. We've done things in the past over at the Trenton Transit Center where we've actually handed out information about safety and about some of the options for getting around the city on bikes. Maybe that's something that someone can do. It's a one-time thing. You just show up there one day during the week, with a bunch of literature, and you hand it out to people who are transporting bikes. Something of that nature. And it would be a big help, and it would be fully in line with what we're doing in a broader scope to expand, advocate, and to inform people about what's going on with biking, pedestrian, and rolling access, not only here in Trenton, but statewide and also nationally. Statewide, the New Jersey Safe Pass law was put into play in 2023, just after seeing the highest recorded number of deaths on the road with pedestrians and cyclists, et cetera, in the state of New Jersey. So the Safe Pass law changes the dynamic a bit. There's very specific rules about how you pass bicyclists and those rolling and walking, and how you do it on streets that have no passing lanes, and how much space you have to give, et cetera. But it's really important that for each and everyone who is driving a motor vehicle to pay attention to that, and those who are walking and rolling as well, to know what the rules are. So New Jersey Safe Pass law, and you can find that on any of the government websites. Transitioning to E, the environment. Recently, I've attended a couple of the Trenton Green Team meetings. Many years ago, when the Trenton Green Team was being established, I was one of the inaugural members. Shout out to Dan Fatton and the others, Jim Simon, and even former Mayor Tony Mack, who was the mayor at the time who put this into play. So we've been in existence for 10 years now. But I'm reintroducing myself to the green team with a focus on how does it go from being a group here in Trenton that's doing that, but connect with much larger entities that are doing things, whether it's regional planning associations, green initiatives, or different municipalities that have green teams as well. I'm from Ewing, and our company, we do some business in Ewing, so we're looking to do more things with the Ewing Green Team. And then there's also a countywide initiative of the green teams. So I'm looking forward to chatting with them and having conversations about how do we advocate, how do we get more information out about this. But then how do we start changing some of these dynamics, getting some younger people involved in the process, hearing what their thoughts are about what green initiatives look like, what sustainability looks like, e-vehicles, et cetera. And that's a perfect segue into my time talking about transportation. Now, regarding transportation, I grew up riding and racing motorcycles and BMX bikes. I used to really like to be fast. As I've gotten older and probably wiser, that's not so much. I think about the practicality of vehicles and the practicality of getting around, and also getting away. But transportation is point A to point B. I understand that there's lots of different ways that you can do it, but more than likely, I'm trying to think about it from a practicality standpoint. For example, we have a small family. There's 3 of us. So fortunately, we don't need as much room and space as far as vehicles go. We don't need a 7-8 passenger SUV. We're not into sports cars or any things of that nature. So while I was doing that, I started asking questions of myself, like, well, we're bombarded with advertising and marketing all the time about, hey, it's the new model years coming out. You need this vehicle. You got to have an SUV. You need an electric. You need a hybrid, or you need a big SUV. Well, on TV, it looks like everybody's either at the beach, or they're in the mountains, or they're by a lake, or they're running from the city going somewhere. And we got to have these specialized vehicles for that. And coming from the fashion industry, I know that that's really just really good marketing, and to get people excited and to get their juices flowing, and then for them to go and to make a purchase, and oftentimes to make a purchase that they finance, and then it goes down this whole other thing. But what I'm trying to do with vehicles and transportation is trying to just share for the practicality of it, the personal experiences that I've had with it, recognizing that pretty much anything new is going to be awesome. I mean, if it's brand new, fresh out the market, you would think it's going to be fine, and it's going to have all the bells and whistles, et cetera. But the practicality and the cost of it, does it really make sense for many people? So what I'm doing with my appreciation for transportation and technology and going fast and all those things is having conversations with manufacturers and test driving vehicles on an extended test drive. And that extended test drive is going to be a practical test drive. I'm not going to the track. I'm not I'm not driving on the beach, those types of things. I'm not off-roading in New Jersey. All those things are all probably possible, but that's not what most people do. Most people got to get from A to B, and they got kids, and they got pets, and they got groceries, and they want to know, is it easy to park? How much stuff can I carry? What's the gas mileage like? So I'm going to be telling stories, not stories. I'll be telling my experiences about that. I've got a couple things coming down the pike. Recently, I've test driven the Hyundai Santa Cruz. There's also the Volvo S60, which is coming out as well, and then the Mazda CX-90 PHEV. There's some of the vehicles that I've been with recently, and there's more to come. And again, you'll be able to find out all this on the website under the blog, Trenton, like the city, the numbers 365.com. Art, and it is so awesome. Yo, Roy, Lazy, come here, please. So this is really what happens on Wednesdays, regardless of what anybody thinks, man. Like, so Wednesdays are super busy. All right, I don't have, yeah, you grab chairs. I got one here, grab another chair. I'm gonna get you guys on camera real quick. You don't want it? Yeah. I ain't camera ready. All right. So respect though, man. Yeah. All right. So I got these 2 amazing artists that are here. Both of them are tattoo artists. Both of them, they really need to be in the fashion industry because they got their own fashion style and the way they look. And Lazy, dude, this dude smells fabulous all the time. Would you say that's Egyptian musk?
Egyptian must.
Yeah. This dude. So you want to sit for a minute? Roy's all shy. Yeah, come on, grab a chair. You ain't camera ready? All right, let's get you sliding here real quick. Yeah, just set that on the floor or whatever. Come on over here, make sure you're. There you go. Love your hair too, man. Look at this. Yeah. All right, respect. So here at Hub 13, we have what's called the gallery at Hub 13, and our first artist was Roy Haynes. Yeah. Billy M.F. Brown, and his work is still up here. Yeah, pop there. Yeah. That's your cameo. That's a cameo. So I've known Roy for years. Many of you have seen my Beavis and Butthead artwork on the wall of the house. That was done by Roy. I saw that. Where was that? 2012? Yeah, right. 2012. And I was like, this guy's work is amazing. So over the years, I've been able to, systematically purchase small pieces of it because, man, he's expensive. He's expensive. But the whole thing is that's what this industry is. It's about building out the artists, providing an opportunity for the artists to make a career and have a career and be successful where they are. So with that, when we acquired Hub 13, the idea was, we got to have a space where artists are going to be able to do their thing. And nothing against any other organizations or any other entities about what they're doing. It's just that over the years, I felt that, hey, I see some different things. And one of them was to see what I can do about getting Roy in here. And when Roy said, yeah, I'll do a show there, it's his first solo show. It's such a success. It's still up. I want to keep it up until everything sells, but we got to see how that goes. But I said, Roy, you know what, man? What would you think about if you were to curate some shows and bring in some artists that you know? And he was like, I got some people. And then that's when he was like, lazy. So you're all right. Why don't you introduce yourself and just share a little bit about all your business, like not only the artwork but also the tattoo.
I don't talk that well, so I'm lazy from DC, DMV. I've been an artist all my life. I'm a tattoo artist now at Mayan Tattoos. It's what is that?
Hamilton Avenue, right across from the McDonald's.
Yeah. It's honestly is my love. Like I can't describe it. It's like it's so deep to me. You just have to see what I do to really see why I do.
All right, and I want to add this too because besides smelling wonderful, he really is just cool. Like I feel like dang, I should just sit back a little bit. And that's just the natural vibe that you give off, and you have from the first time I met you. So for folks who haven't seen any of your artwork, not your tattoo work, your artwork, how would you kind of explain it?
I would say I'm various. Like I was just telling him, I'm various. I try different styles, not go too overboard with like abstract or anything, but just mix it up a little,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now the tattoo work. Now, so we got this amazing tattoo scene here in Trenton. There's a lot of wonderful tattoo artists. Can you just talk about what brought you to Trenton?
A lesson. A lesson. We'll get into that later, but
okay. All right, fair enough. This is an intro. If you want the meat and potatoes, maybe we'll have to have people pay for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. So this is kind of the rabbit out the hat kind of. So Lazy, Roy, and other artists are going to be featured here in November. And I don't want you to give it away, but you told me that you have a lot of work. So I'm assuming that Hub 13 is probably going to be inundated with the artwork of you three.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I know what they got. I know what I got. So yeah, wall to wall to wall to wall. Right. Yeah.
All right, bet. Now, what would you like for folks? And I always like to say this because there's a lot of folks who are apprehensive, and they're apprehensive about, hey, I want to try something different, whether it's a career or I don't know if I want to go to that place. I don't know anybody there. Or Trenton's kind of got like, a sketchy name at times. What would you say to some of those folks who are kind of like, they're into the art, they're into the culture, but they're kind of like, I just don't know.
You will have to experience it to actually know if you can say you like it or not. So, I mean, see it to believe it,
Oh man. If you can only smell this dude, I think I'm thinking about flowers. I'm thinking about like warm breezes. Like, hey, I think I want to have a salad or something. Like, this is awesome. Lazy, thanks, man. I appreciate you. All right, bro.
Appreciate it.
All right, so I'm gonna get you out of here so I can finish up this here review here. Respect, bro. We'll talk to you soon. Oh man, this is really what my life is like, man. This is great. I'm glad that I'm able to document it and share it with others, and then provide a space where others can come in, they can do what they're doing, they can make some money, they can get some exposure, etc. And for those of you who are around the world who are doing different things and seeing things here, reach out, send an email, Trenton365.com. And then from there, we can see what we can do about working with you and getting you over here to the States as well. I'm going to finish up before we get out of here. I'm going to run through these kind of quick. The last two segments is C, which is civics. And recently, the Trenton Microloan Collaborative, and the website is trentonmicroloan.org. The Trenton Microloan Collaborative is a grouping of two faith communities, Westminster Presbyterian Church and Nassau Presbyterian Church, and it's growing. Under the idea of Pastor Karen Hernandez Granson, senior pastor at Westminster, she was introduced to microloans and the importance of having financial support in the faith community and the congregations, etc., by her father. And her father, who was a pastor in Brooklyn, New York City, she's often talking about how she's a New Yorican, a Puerto Rican born in New York, and that when immigration was taking place, her father, as a senior pastor, recognized the importance of offering up loans, microloans, to folks so that they could either take care of securing housing or expenses, or even starting a business. And many, many years later, decades later, it's paved its way for it to take place here in Trenton with the Trenton Microloan Collaborative, which was started a few years back. And we went through a process where we did a Bible study and some extensive conversations and meetings about the structure that we would take. And long and short of it, we took on the idea of providing finances and services such as accounting, taxes, tax preparation, bookkeeping, etc., to recipients who are formerly incarcerated entrepreneurs. And to date, we have 5, and we celebrated this on a couple of Saturdays ago at Caesars on Layler Street in Trenton, New Jersey. Big shout out to Caesars for providing a wonderful space and wonderful food, etc. And the second annual dinner, we Jeff Augustine of Deals, Stephanie Register of Recovery is Essential, Father Ramsey, Shelton Minor Detailing and Auto Services, and Dante Thomas of Team Chisel. There are current 5 recipients of microloans and also services, and we're looking to build upon that. So with the building upon that, we're looking to expand. We want to get more people involved in this, build out more folks who want to partner with us. Big shout out to the partners who we already have. One of them who has been tremendously helpful in securing folks has been Tracy Syfax. Tracy Syfax is also a returning citizen. He's also an entrepreneur and now a restaurateur. Big shout out to Bookers. And if you haven't heard Tracy, we're going to bring a team down there. We're going to have a nice dinner one day during the week. So make sure you head over to the website, trentonmicroloancollaborative.org. There you can find out about the process that we went through. If it's something that you want to participate in, whether you want to give your time, talent, treasure, or services, you can. Or if you're someone who, hey, you're formerly incarcerated, you're an entrepreneur, you have, your business in order, your paperwork, your taxes, etc., reach out to us. Let's have a conversation. The process is very simple, and we're even streamlining it. We have a couple of different meetings, go through details, and then we go from there. So the Trenton Microloan Collaborative.org. And finishing up, we're going to talk about health and we're going to talk about cannabis and medical marijuana. And I want to do that because I think it's important for folks to stop being an ostrich maybe, or take the scales off their eyes and recognize a few different things. One, this is a plant. It grows indigenously many, many different places on this planet. It's something that the medical, or for thousands of years, it's been used for medicine, but the medical society here in the United States has been coming more and more involved and learning more about the cannabidiol system, cannabidiol system. I got to get that right. I'm seeing it in my mind one way and saying it another. So we're going to be bringing in professionals through Black Cannabis Consulting, and the website is black-cannabis.com. And through there, we're going to be introducing through our media outlets, Black Cannabis 365, which is a podcast and a show, as well as events, bringing in trade organizations and subject matter experts, SMEs, we call them, bringing them in to talk about the different endocannabinoid system that's in all of our bodies, to talk about the benefits of it from a health standpoint, also having conversations with the law enforcement communities about proper usage, and then working with those who were in what we say the legacy market before things were legalized, working with them to get them involved into the legal side of the business if that's what they want to do. For example, if you have someone who has been growing, selling, or distributing cannabis for decades, and now things are legal, there's a lot of experience that's there. There's a lot of strategies there. There's a lot of intellect there, and it behooves us, if we're going to build out this industry properly, we as a society should be looking to get as many people involved with the highest level of intellect as possible. And oftentimes it's going to be the OGs, the folks who've been doing this for a long time, who may not have had any experience in the last 5 to 10 years in the legal market. So through our LOVE program, LOVE, which stands for Legacy Operators Vying for Equity, we're working with several different entities and working with people who are coming or transitioning from the legacy market to the legal market, and assisting them in any way possible, any way that they need. And we're going to leave that up to them. We have a boot camp that is established. We have a large, vast database of professionals, such as lawyers, insurance brokers, real estate agents, and municipalities, where we can assist with streamlining the process for some of these folks who are looking to go into the cannabis space. In addition to the LOVE program, we also have Cannabis and Faith. Cannabis and faith, first of all, we recognize that faith is a very diverse thing, and it means different things to different people. So my background as an ordained elder in the PCUSA Presbyterian denomination, I recognize that what faith is, means, again, to different people. Now, in addition to meaning it to different people, we have to recognize that even in the Christian denomination, which I'm a Christian, I recognize myself as a Christian. In the Christian denomination, there's lots of different sects. There's lots of different breakdowns. There's lots of different traditions, etc. And that's just the Christian. That's not including the other major faiths, Baha'i, Jewish, Hindu, Muslim, etc. We know that cannabis is a plant that's indigenous around the world. We know that it's consumed on a regular basis, at least here in the United States, equally throughout all different demographics. So that would also mean that it's being consumed by people who are in the faith community as well. So we are looking to have conversations and meetings and gathering spaces and develop best practices for what is the faith community's position on cannabis. And specifically, we're going to be talking about a few different things. The health component of it, as I mentioned, the endocannabinoid system, and then also the economy, the forthcoming industry, the jobs, et cetera, the ancillary opportunities. Earlier, I mentioned that there's insurance and lawyers and so forth. There's a lot of different agencies and professionals who are going to benefit from this as the cannabis industry continues to grow and develop. Well, that's coming. Then let's make sure that we get those folks involved immediately, and not only get them involved, but also provide them a platform to settle themselves in and then also guideposts for them, so to speak, so that they're operating in an equitable way. Part of what Black Cannabis is doing is pushing for equity, social and all forms of equity in the cannabis space. And what I mean by that is that currently the industry is dominated by a homogeneous group of people. And that's going down the lines of many other industries. And we believe, and many others believe, that there's no reason why those who've been most impacted by the war on drugs and this plant, the cannabis plant, why they should be the ones who do not benefit from the legalization and this growing industry. So with that being said, Black Cannabis is also going to be pushing for the social portion of it in conversations with cannabis and faith. What does the faith community and the faith leaders have to say about the health component, economic component, and then the social justice component? Those three areas are quite critical, we believe, to how we move forward in this industry. And also through Black Cannabis, we're doing consulting for municipal governments. Recently, we did a breakout session for the New Jersey State Planning Association. I'm talking to them about the importance of how cannabis businesses in communities, the planning that needs to go around them, how it needs to be detailed, etc. So all that information can be found, and you can set up a time and a tour and a meeting with us on the website black-cannabis.com. Things are picking up here at Hub 13. Valana Denise just walked in as well. Another artist you ought to check out. So closing up here today, Wednesday, November 1st. Wow, Wednesday, November 1st, Whimsical Wednesday at Cooper's Riverview. There is no cover charge to get in. We'll be there, myself, Yolanda, Landy Robinson, and others at approximately 4 o'clock, 4 to 7, 5 to 7. We'll be hosting, there's no cover charge again. We'll be hosting a networking. There'll be some vendors there. We'll be hosting, this is an opportunity people come out, see Cooper's and see all the things that they're doing there. Meet Vinny and the staff there. And there's food and drink specials, depending on the weather. The outdoor space is open. And then at 7 p.m., Lance and Company, the band, the house band, takes over. They do a bunch of different covers with a hyper focus on rock and roll and blues and soul. And if you are a singer, you can maybe be able to even jump in and sing a song or two with Lance and the band at Cooper's Riverview. All right, I think I covered everything I wanted to this week, but I do want to go back to this and say it one more time. There are plenty of people who have a mouth full of scriptures and a heart full of hate. A mouth full of scriptures and a heart full of hate. Please make sure that you are not one of those, and if you are one of those, consider where you're getting your scriptures from, and if the spirit of whatever is telling you to use these scriptures is actually benefiting the community and humanity. With that being said, remember, friends, it's always about justice, peace, and humility.